Yeah, welcome back to the firehouse for some more firehouse reasoning. This evening from the firehouse, I'm going to be looking at a trilogy. You know, like how we have physical trilogy, like I say, like the sun, the moon, and the earth. We have the spiritual ones of the positive, the negative, and us, the neutral. Here I'm going to be looking at knowledge, wisdom, and ISness. What is, as it was. And how we reach the different stages then. The first stage is, I say, is knowledge. And knowledge, I say, can be gathered by anyone, whether they are moral. We don't need to be moral or to behave in any way moral to be knowledgeable. You know what I mean? Whatever the knowledge is, be it scientific or whatever other knowledge that we might go to college and school and learn. It could say knowledge is a free for all then. That's how the field of knowledge operate. You know what I mean? It's more like what I would call acquired learning, where we can go to school and colleges and learn about what was learned before we arrive here. You know? Or maybe we might even learn some new knowledge ourselves. But we don't have to be moral when we're doing all this. What they call a genius then, in knowledgeable terms, like I say, don't have to be moral. That is the field of knowledge. In the field of wisdom, to be wise or to gather it, to learn it, because wisdom now, unlike knowledge, you cannot go to college and school and learn it. You know, and to learn it, you have to cease from doing what is not right and correct. When you are gathering knowledge, you don't have to bother about what is right and correct. There is no hindrance to your gathering of knowledge. But in wisdom it is. Because you can only learn wisdom when you cease from doing what is wrong. Well, anyway, if you learn this wisdom then, this wisdom now is going to allow you to cross, because ISness, as it was then, is not located in the mind. You know what I mean? Wisdom is, and knowledge then is located in the field of the mind. So to go to the land of ISness, we have to cross what I call the minefield, the real minefield, which is the mind. You hear of minefield. Minefield, when they say minefield, they are usually talking about a battlefield situation where man lay all kind of traps then, booby traps. So if you step on it, you get blow up. But internally, the mind is a minefield as well, you know. There's many booby traps in it. You see? So you can be caught up in all kind of things within the mind then, you know. I don't know. Maybe you go on a scientific study and spend your life down there, you know. Maybe you were studying, I don't know, black magic or white magic, who knows? You know, the mind is a very dangerous place to cross, if you know what I mean. And unless one is wise, one cannot cross the minefield as it was now. There is one, like I say, direct road through the mind. As let's say it was a train that travels through the mind, and it travels from the lower regions right to the highest region, you know, and it is the only train now that can bring you through the minefield so that you don't get trapped in any of the various traps that is within the mind then. waiting for the weary traveler, you know. Yeah, this train is called the train of honesty. Now, as well, this journey cannot be undertaken by a group of people, I say. Only the individual alone can cross the minefield, you know what I mean? You cannot, your mother won't be coming with you, or your father, your brother, your sister. No family or outside family. It's got to be done on your own then. Well, you won't be on your own, you know, because when you learn wisdom, like I say now, wisdom will gather around your disciples. So from wisdom you would have learned common sense. You know what I mean? Because you can't get anywhere without common sense. You would have also learned humbleness. You know? And humbleness would have taught you that all the beings that you are see are full of shit just like you know? Coming from the same place that you come from, out of your mother's womb. So you must not bow down to any being or look up to any being. You must look them all in the eye directly, you know. So you will learn not to worship or admire other human beings, no matter who they say that they are, or if they say claim that God sent them. Because humbleness will show you, well, if God sent them, God must have sent you, because they come here the same way as you, innit? So don't bother with that bullshit. Then you would have also gathered willpower. You know? And you would have gathered enthusiasm. You would have gathered around you, like I say, funny. Because you have to be funny. And his friends serious, you know, they go together, you know. You would have gathered around you, like I say, you know, fearless. Because when fearless is around, fear must scatter. You know? And like I say, you would have also gathered, because the mind is a very dark region. It's no use entering there without any light. So you would have gathered the vision, I say, of our friend here, the owl, so that you can penetrate into the dark. When we are moving through the mind, as it was, heading to the land of what is beyond wisdom then, as it was. I say, wisdom govern the mind. You know what I mean? But there is things that is beyond wisdom. Like I say, firehouse is beyond, you know. That's what we call over the land of ISness. Like I say, when we was ready, after we traveled from the lower regions of the mind and reached the outer flanks and was ready to cross over into firehouse, even wisdom itself was afraid of entering firehouse. I see what I mean? Fearless had to convince them all. Everyone get a bit nervous, evil common sense. Because they were sure that they would be consumed by the fire within firehouse, you know. Can you imagine dreaming of going to the sun? Well, that's what it was like when we decided that, no, we're going in firehouse, you know. Because fearless, you know. Fearless is a brethren that fear nothing, you know. So, well, you can only die, innit? And you have to die sometimes. So, firehouse we go in. You see? So, when you leave from the mind, it's a thing like, imagine the moon was the mind. Because yet, internally it is. It's a positive or a negative feel. You see what I mean? It is a receiver rather than a giver of light. So we was going to leave the field of the mind then to go to where light come from. Like we was going to the sun, leaving the moon to go to the sun. And when we enter the sun now, that's where we see where ISness is. The land where you don't have to be... Why wisdom don't count over in this land, you know? Because this is beyond wisdom. You don't see things as it is then, as it was. So there's nothing wise about what I know. I just know it. And it's beyond wisdom. It's beyond debate. It's just a fact. But alright then. Let's go back down to the field of knowledge. When the man of knowledge gathers his knowledge, like a scientist then, he can present the facts of this knowledge in the physical. Because knowledge can be demonstrated physically then. So the scientist can get his thing and show you how electric work and why this and that work in the physical. The evidence of wisdom cannot be presented in the physical but in the spiritual. So to see the evidence of wisdom, you can only see it when your internal eyes are open yourself. You see what I mean? Because the evidence of wisdom is not going to be presented where it can be demonstrated in the physical, but through words. We're going to paint a picture for you. But if your internal eyes are not open, you won't be able to see. You understand? Wisdom can only be presented to those whose eyes have opened. And your eyes could only have been open if you had introduced self-discipline in your life. You understand? And change your negative ways. Because those are the rules and regulation of understanding and learning wisdom that one must self-conduct. Otherwise your eyes cannot open. So when the evidence is presented, you cannot either hear it or see it, because your internal spiritual eyes are not yet open. You see what I mean? When your spiritual eyes are not open, like I says, you can learn the world of knowledge. You can be a genius in knowledge, but you cannot learn wisdom. Everyone can learn wisdom, you know. Wisdom is not the property of anyone. It's open to all individuals. But I am saying that no individual can learn it until they learn self-discipline and make correction in the way that they are living in life. It doesn't care who you was or who you are now or how many university you go to. Yeah, go there and learn knowledge. But like I'm saying now, where wisdom is concerned, and this goes for any being who is living now and anyone who did live in the past, because the laws of wisdom has never changed. Truth has always been the same from the beginning, right through until now, exactly the same. You see what I mean? To be wise, you must cease from doing what is wrong. If you don't cease from doing what is wrong, you'll never learn what is right if you live eternally. That is just the law. There's nothing wise about that. That's just what is. You see what I mean? There's nothing wise about telling a man that the Spirit of God, or what you call God, the One, is within you. That's just how it is. Now, like I say, you might not know that's how it is, you know. Because maybe your eyes, your internal eyes have not yet opened. But mine has, isn't it? So I know. It's not a matter of believing or even having faith that it's so. It's just a matter of that's what is. You know? So it's not a matter of me, say, speaking to convince anyone. I'm not speaking to convince anyone. I just speak what is. You see what I mean? Now, speaking what is, there's no being living now. None who lived before, or none who could live in the future, like I say, can defeat the words, what is coming out of my mouth, because it's what is. You see what I mean? What is like I say, we're speaking, like I say, from firehouse, where truth come from. Like I tell you before, you know, I am not the truth. The One is the truth. The one that is in all. The one that we humans here call conscience then. For a better word of speaking. Or because I'm a Rasta man, I would say Rastafari, you know. Or because I like saying that I'm a 9th grade general, yeah. I love the word Rastafari because it's a 9-letter word. You know? So it's a fullness. Reveal the one in its fullness within this time. Like I say, that one stands for the one universe, one planet Earth, and planet Earth you have one race of people living, human beings. And I am the one that watch them all from within. The terrible and dreadful one, Rastafari, the force field general. The one that is. You know what I mean? Now because that one is over and above any little prophet or any little saint that human wants to go on about. Because while a little human or a little saint or a little prophet could have only been in one place at a particular time, this one is in every human being at once, everywhere, and has always been. You see what I mean? So when humans, for example, are saying that God is up in heaven, that is just what they believe, not what they know. Because when you know that God is within. So why would you say God was up in heaven? It just simply means that you don't know. This is what you believe. But in the state of ISness, there is no belief. You leave belief from you enter wisdom anyway. Because wisdom starts to teach you, so you learn to know. You know? Now you reach over here now, like I say. It's just what you just know. You don't have to believe. You know? I don't have to believe in this stick, you know what I mean? I just know this stick. You know? It's the same way internally. In the unseen. When you see what you see in the unseen, you don't have to believe it, you just know it. You see what I mean? So I don't have to, what would be the point as an example to say, go and study, like enough man say, oh, have you studied the Quran and the Hadith and we. Imagine if I couldn't read like enough man can't read. How would I study any Hadith? What you talking about? You know what I mean? The Hadith is not the teacher of wisdom, is it? That is just a book of knowledge then, if it was. If that knowledge is useful to anyone, yeah, go ahead and read knowledge. But books cannot teach wisdom. We're not, you know, we are on about wisdom, and wisdom can only be learned from the one that is in you, the teacher of wisdom himself. Conscience, you know, the guidance of the soul. No one else can guide the soul where truth is concerned. It would be like you literally believing that sunshine could be coming from anywhere else apart from the sun that you see blazing fire in the sky. Well, that same sun is within us internally as the giver of light to all souls who has ever arrived out of the womb of woman. And no sun, just like how no soul has ever walked on this earth without receiving the light from that sun. No soul has ever walked on this earth without receiving the light of the internal one either. They might not have been aware of it, you know what I mean? But they was all under the light of that one, you know? Maybe they never choose to be guided by that one because we have the freedom of choice. So we can always reject that one and go our own way. You know what I'm saying? But I'm saying that if any soul had choose the guidance of that one, the truth would have been revealed to them. You see what I mean? So they didn't have to end up believing in God. They would have known the living God. You see what I mean? They wouldn't be talking about any prophets or any saint or anything like that. You know, they would have been talking about the internal one that is within all. You see what I mean? And if they had known this one and was under the guidance of this one, life wouldn't be like how you see it now. You see what I mean? Because man wouldn't be guided by knowledge, in it. Now knowledge guide man, you know. Scientists, what scientists say. Humans are not guided by their conscience, you know. You don't dig this fact. They are guided by what science say or by what some books say or whatever say. They are not guided by their own common sense as it was then. Simple. You know? They are guided by but when you're dealing with what is, you are not guided by your own, I would call it self-interest then, you know. We are under the guide of a superior intelligence then, as it was. You know? An intelligence, like I tell you, that is everywhere at once. In what they call the black, the white, you know, the male, the female, you know. All those who lived before, all those who are living now, and all those who will live in the future. This one is in them. Like I tell you, when you're doing whatever wrongs you're doing, this one is telling you not to do it. But it's a matter of choice. You don't have to listen to your own self, do you? You know? Because along with the one that is talking to you, like I say, there is the negative one that counterbalance the positive. So life is like night and day, you know, positive and negative. With the one that you would call Satan, the one that you are terrified about, you know, the internal general, I say, who tests the souls of all beings who come out of the womb of woman, you know, bad general, you know. But most beings are terrified of this one, the believers, those who are not yet wise, you know, they are the one who are believers. They are the one who create, organize religion and create the false God and the false prophet and the false Satan, you know. But there is no Satan running about with horns, if you know what I mean. There is a real Satan that tests us from within then. Not even a personal test, because everyone who come out of the womb must face this test then. You know? So it's an alternative. You have one that's positive and one that's negative. But the negative cannot force you to do anything negative, just like the good cannot force you to be good. The choice is yours. You see what I mean? So to get on the train, like I said, is going to take you out of the mind. You have to be honest. You know? I don't mean the kind of honesty that you try and show to other human being when in your heart you're not honest, you know. Because the internal one know the type of honesty that you are, whether it is genuine or not. And if you're not genuinely honest within your heart and soul and mind, you cannot unlock the keys to enter the doors of wisdom then. You cannot enter. You only enter when sincerity is developed, or you start to develop that. And honest sincerity within thyself. You understand? Otherwise, the access to wisdom is never granted. You know? Just like I tell people all the time, simple explanation. Clean water will not enter a dirty glass. Spoil the water. So it's the same thing with God internally. Until you clean your mind and you intend to clean and stay clean, the light of God will not start to enter. You see what I mean? Because if it does it, your bad ways will just corrupt it. You see what I mean? Make no difference to you. So when you clean, and the thing about cleaning thyself now, God cannot do it. No one can do it. Your mother cannot. No one. Your friends can't do it. That's why I'm saying this is a soldier thing, a one-man thing, or a one-woman thing. You must be the one that take responsibility for your own action and make correction to your own negative behavior. So you have to be serious. Hence the reason why you have to have the disciple serious with you. Because this is not a joke thing, you know. Even though funny find these things funny, you know? Yeah, but seriously, you have to take responsibility. When you are willing to take responsibility, then you can enter the doors of wisdom. You see what I mean? And find a safe passage through the mind. You see what I mean? Because when you are moving, like I'm saying, through the mind, you are walking through a minefield. You know? You are going to encounter, like I say, religious men who are going to tell you that, listen, you don't have to go travel through no mind because God revealed it to us. Here is our holy book and here is our prophet. You see what I mean? So you have to be fearless enough to realize and say, no, well, we're not interested in any God who want to send any prophets and things, you know. Our job is to progress through the mind. We're not care about no prophet. We are seeking what is right and correct and truthful and honest. And you are telling us about prophets and that we can never know. We are more interested in what we can know. You see what I mean? Yeah, you meet people, like I say, who are either believers then. So they would believe in God, but one cannot believe and know. Then there's the other one who are the atheists. They don't believe that there is any God. But that's another form of belief. You see what I mean? So you have to learn to ignore both of them and go on your own, you know? You see what I mean? If you cannot develop this individual strength, then they might, like I tell you, might believe what they believe is I tell you that God sent his son. You see, when God is an energy that is everywhere. If God had sons, you could say that we are all sons and daughters of God. But where the truth is concerned, when you come to earth as a spirit, here you could claim that you was God's grandmother. That is irrelevant to the truth. Or to death, you must die. You could be God's uncle. They don't care about that. That don't count. What counts here is whether you are willing to make correction to the wrongs that you are doing here, so that you can learn what is right and correct and truthful and honest. Not whether you claim that, you know, that God sent you. Even if God sent you, you are here to go under that test. So we don't take any notice like that. Well, I don't. We shouldn't say we. Because I'm not moving with a group of people, you know. When I was crossing the mind, I was crossing there on my own. You see what I mean? Not on my own, along with my disciples, them and thing, you know. Fearless and all these, man. And we meet many people in the mind, you know. All kind of strange people. I remember when we visit Mrs. Paradox. Mr. and Mrs. Paradox. That's when we learn a lot of things, how life is paradoxical. When it seems as if it's not so, yet it is so. Just like how it looks as if we are visible beings to each other. When we are not, we are invisible. I learned those lessons of Mrs. Paradox. Mr. and Mrs. Paradox. You know what I mean? They have a lot of story to tell. You know what I mean? They can reveal a lot of things that don't seem to be so, yet it is so. Because I remember Mrs. Paradox saying, no, look at people worrying about getting old when we can't get old. You see what I mean? And that might be puzzling to some people, but it's a paradoxical thing. What is getting old is the body, but the spirit can never get old. And we are not the body, we're just riding in it, if you know what I mean. Like a man would put on a coat, you're not the goddamn coat, you know. But the coat just because, you know, it's a shelter, right? So the body is a covering for the spirit. Well, one day that body shall be, you know, not a cover anymore as it was then. You know, get old and die or accident, I don't know, anything, you know. But still, that has got nothing to do with the spirit that is within the body. Because that spirit within the body cannot get old, cannot age, cannot, you see what I mean? So it is a paradoxical thing. Like I'm telling you. But you have to enter the mind to know these things, if you know what I mean. Under the guidance of wisdom, you know. So understanding then, wisdom, internal understanding must begin with self-conduct. If you do not analyze your life and change the wrong things that you are doing, because we live in life then, innit? Life is the first upfront here we live in with other people, socializing, doing whatever now. Now, that is what I'm talking about. The conduct, that how we conduct ourselves with the people that we intermingle with. Well, you have to now curtail those and make sure that you are not jealous, greedy, selfish, spiteful, racist, and all kind of things you have to bring into order before you can begin to learn wisdom. Or before you could ever dream of traversing the mind. You see what I mean? To free yourself from mental slavery then, as it was. Yeah, because the mind will hold people prisoner, I say, differently. So we have to we have to kind of well, how should I put it? The mind is like the ego in a way. I say the ego can either be positive or negative, depending on the individual soul. So we know, like I say, was born innocent then and pure. But due to how the world is, we enter a world of positive and negative, but mostly negative then controlled by negativity. So by the time we grow up, we automatically take on an egoistic character then, rather than now the true innocent being that we come here has now get covered up by this ego. And it's very hard for we to spot this ego within our own self and remove the ego. Stop feeding the ego with jealousy and hate and greed and those kind of things, and get back to our own innocent state that we was. You see what I mean? It's a hard process, but sooner or later we have to recognize this. That's why self-discipline is important, because the self-discipline is going to discipline our egoistic way. Dethrone the ego, as like I would say. You see what I mean? Once the ego is dethroned and you take over now, now you can live how you want to live, or how you know you should live. You see what I mean? Because now you'll be listening to the guidance, not of men, or your mother, or your father, or grandfather, but of the internal teacher, the one within all. The master teacher himself. You see what I mean? It's like, so when it turns out then that one can go to 2 university or schools, if you want to call it that then. Physical school and university set up by men, or the internal one that is run and set up by the one master that is everywhere at once, the giver of light himself. Well, I say from how you see life is, because life is not under the domination of positivity but negativity. So that means the majority has ignored the teacher of positivity and go and follow what other people tell them. You see what I mean? So they never end up wise, because you can only end up wise if you was under the guidance of the one. You see what I mean? So it explains everything why life is the way it is. Beings have been ignoring the one. If you ignore the one, you must end up in darkness without light. You cannot create anything that is genuine and lasting. It must crumble and fall. Because what you're doing is against the law. The law of the terrible and dreadful one, Well, if you don't go to where things is, you won't see these things for sure. You see what I mean? You won't be able to, when you hear me speak before and say, I bet my soul that all prophets are false. You must think it's some kind of joke, or I would do that for some joke. No. I'm deadly serious when I do those things. I know the responsibility that such swear would carry. You know? That means if I wasn't 1,000,000,000% sure in my heart, you think I would make a swear like that? But because I'm extra certain of that blood clot, I say I swear by my soul that I lose my soul if any of these boy that these religious organizations talk about is real. Whether they talk about Jesus, Muhammad, or any of the prophet that they claim that God sent. Why? Because the one that they are calling God is the internal one. Don't have to send any prophet. Because that one has been talking to man continually. I'll show your fucking life. You are the one who is not listening. You see what I mean? The one cannot send anyone here. Because the one gives us the freedom of choice. You see what I mean? So it's like say, once God gives you the freedom of choice, God cannot tell you what to do. Yeah, God can offer advice, which God is always offering advice. But whether you take up those advice, God cannot enforce advice on you. Because the choice is not with God, the choice is with you. Just like the devil is always offering up fuckery. I call negativity. But the devil cannot enforce negativity on us. Can just suggest that. Because the choice to enforce negativity is not with the devil, it's with us. Under the power of choice. You see what I mean? So, under the power of choice, God cannot tell us what to do. Or give us any commandment to follow. Because we are not idiots. We already know the difference between right and wrong. It is up to us to make a choice. You see what I mean? So when you get serious like that now, because my disciple them, like I said, we don't ramp. Fearless and them man don't ramp, no wrap up. I say, listen, my you, get serious and deal with the flex properly. You know what I mean? So when we get serious like that now, you see, that's how we come where we are not afraid of either God or the devil. So you can come to understand how things is. You see what I mean? When you are not afraid. You know? Because what are you afraid of anyway? You must know well. I don't know well. The people who are afraid don't know this. But it would be pointless for God to create us, yeah? And then put us here in the world without the ability to understand what's going on here. So if we haven't got the ability to understand what is going on here, that is not our fault. That would be God's fault. You see what I mean? But we have got the ability to understand what is going on here. You see? And the only reason that can stop us understanding what is going on here is our incorrect behavior here. You see? Because wrongdoings blind you. Not physically, you know. Wrongdoing blind you mentally, automatically. No matter what form of wrongdoing you're doing. From you are doing wrongs, you cannot be wise. Your internal eyes cannot open. So you cannot rise to a certain level. You know, you cannot reach certain understanding, will never enter your mind. Why? Because of the way that you are behaving. Our learning is like that. Like I tell you, before I was 27, I never know what I know now. Or a half or a quarter. Why? Because I was behaving in a negative way. And the light of God was not entering my mind under those terms, you know. It started to enter when I learned the art of self-discipline. You see what I mean? And then over the years, when you slowly, like I say, all we're doing in life is polishing ourselves like our diamond, like our jeweler polish a rough diamond, you know. slow process thing, polish and improve and improve. And you see what I mean? It's a travel, you know. So you learn to work on yourself. And the more you work on yourself, the more you will be able to traverse the field of the mind as it was then, you know what I mean? And if you are on the train of honesty, you can't get lost in the mind. You see, even if a man is honest, even if he make a mistake, he find back the road and get back on the honest train, you know? Because it would have been an honest mistake, you know, rather than a deliberate one. Because when you're honest, you don't do things deliberately then, if that was the case, you know. We don't speak, enough people like to speak personal. I don't speak anything personal to anyone, whether they want to be black or white or male or female, you know. Like I say, I follow the principle of the sun. When the light is blazing, it does blaze for all, you know. Not just anyone special, you know. And I'm a soldier, like I say, I don't look down on no one or look up to no one. I don't have heroes or sheroes. Listen, there's only one energy that I bow to, and that is the one within all. You know? Angel and archangel, you know, I don't care about that. Because I don't have no business with them. And I never learn anything from them. I only have one teacher. The one that is in me. The one that bring me across the field of the mind over into the land of firehouse. You see, so I can only hold allegiance to the one that I know. You know? Rather than something that I believe in. I don't care about no God that man believe in. That God, the God that man believe in don't exist. It's a false idol up in the sky, created by the criminals who organize and control religion. The living God that I know is in man right now, and was in all the men who live and die before, and shall be in all the men and women who are going to live in the future. You know, live and direct. Well, I know that one myself, you know. I don't have to believe in the one, like I say, because I'm not teaching here to be a teaching of belief, but is. You know, isness, what is. What is beyond wisdom itself, you know. So, not even a wise man can contend with a firehouse general, you know. Because we don't bother teach wisdom as it was then, you know. Wisdom get cancelled out. Everything get cancelled out when you enter firehouse. Because there is only one teacher in firehouse, and that is the one that is within all. I and I master. You know? I just have to reflect that one. And if I reflect that one, like I say, I blind any soul within the universe, whether they was on earth or beyond earth, in the seen or the unseen. No one contend with the light of that one. You see what I mean? No holy book, no prophet, nothing at all. Because that's just what is. You understand? I know, like I say, the majority is not going to grasp it. Because right now the majority is under mental slavery, as it was, you know. The majority are believers. Nobody want to know the potential that is within themselves. You see what I mean? So the majority will not know what I'm talking about. You see what I mean? But what I'm saying, whether they want to know it or not, the words that I'm speaking cannot be defeated if creation lasts a trillion, zillion, billion eternity and to eternity and a back and another trillion. You see what I mean? The only thing humans could do with a man like me on earth here now, like I say, is kill me. But you could never kill the words that I speak, and you could never defeat them anyway. You know? No matter what you do, no matter what no human being do, I'm telling you this, no soul who has ever emerged out of the womb of woman could ever defeat the words that I speak. And any soul at all who challenge them, or dispute them, is a lost soul. To just challenge them mean that your eyes are not yet open. But it's your right to challenge them though, because you should challenge the truth for real. But when I mean challenge and argue and go on, shows that you are still in the land of ignorance still. But when your eyes open, if any being's eyes are open anyway, when they hear me speak, they will know that I am firing the real truth. Because their internal self will let them know that yes, that is the fire, busting the blood-clad fire, for real. Not no fancy fairy story. Because I don't have to speak anything that is fanciful, I say, or anything that is dreamy, but just what is realistic, what is true. Because I know human being within it. I'm not someone like you say who just look and think, oh yeah, that is a black man or a white man physical. I know the spirit, because we have all eyes in it, internal eyes that can see within the dark. So when I'm speaking, I am not speaking to bodies, like I'm speaking to black and white bodies. I am speaking to spirits who live in black and white bodies. That's all, They themselves can stay there and argue about being black and white. But in the land that I move in, we don't deal with black and white, because black and white don't exist. Apart from on the physical level, you see what I mean? Things are indifferent, You could say black and white is knowledge then. Knowing that your spirit is wisdom. ISness is God. Beyond wisdom then, if you know what I mean. Beyond the range of knowledge, us wise men, is ISness, the one himself, where light come from to enter our mind. You understand? So you can see the difference when you are in knowledge then, just knowledge. It's not that knowledge is bad, knowledge is a good thing, but it must come under the guidance of wisdom. Because there is no morality in knowledge on its own. It won't behave right. It doesn't know how to behave. It will, see how life is. Life is governed by the knowledgeable. A few people have commented that I should go and study and learn, you know what I mean? As if they cannot see that it is the learned that is controlling and running the world. And what have the knowledgeable man done with their knowledge? Are they running the world how you love it? Is it look peaceful and justice and all that? No, they've used knowledge to contaminate up the whole planet, fight war, create more dangerous weapon to fight against themselves. Not against an alien force, against themselves. So there's no sense in knowledge. Knowledge will destroy itself and others. You see what I mean? But wisdom will never destroy anything, either itself or others. You understand? You see the difference? Excuse me. No, knowledge will self-destruct, but wisdom will never self-destruct. Knowledge will separate and divide, but wisdom will never separate and divide. Knowledge will create religion and have prophets and saints, but wisdom will never create any. You see, as far as wisdom is concerned, God is in man, so why would you want to create any religion? Just tell man to live right and correct. That's how you get the mind fit. If you don't live right, your mind can't be fit. Pointless, you're praying to God for this and that, because God already give you. It's like a man praying to God to cook some food. When God already give you the ability to cook the God, go and cook your own food, innit? You're not stupid. And stop praying to God and begging for God when you should be doing things, When you, it's like say if you go out in the fields and you stand to plant and you plant some seed, God multiply it and make it grow. You know, but you don't sit at home begging God for the food. You do something that is going, and then when you do it, God will help you. So you see, once you choose God, God will teach you. But how many of you, like I'm saying now, has choose God as your teacher? Because God is in yourself. God is not in the mosque or in the church or in religious organization. But the majority of people has chosen to follow these type of institution. And once you are doing that, only one thing can happen to you. Your mind will become mentally enslaved to the ignorance that is being taught by these criminals who organize religion. I say they organize spirituality into a dogmatic creed and make spirituality dogmatic into a belief system. You know what I mean? And then claim that, oh yeah, God sent this prophet and that prophet, and you know. But it's all a lie. Nothing goes like that. But you cannot find out, you know, that it is a definite lie yourself until you yourself has self-discipline and live the life, an honest life that is going to reveal the truth to you, so that you know. But if you yourself is a corrupted soul, then you might believe what they are telling you, that God did send prophets, and the last prophet and the third one and fifth one. You know what I mean? But you can do this, all I say, when you don't know who God is. But when you know who God is, like I say, when you cross the field of the mind and know ISness now, so you know that God is. God is not something to believe in. God just is. You know? And God is, whether you know it or you don't know it, it's all irrelevant to what is. Same example like I say. Before I was 27, I never know that God was. But God was anyway, and it doesn't matter whether I didn't know or I didn't know. That never made no difference to the presence of God. You know, it's not as if God is some emotion that is going to start crying if we humans don't realize that God is. Or if we humans should say, oh, fuck God, we are doing this, there is no fucking God. That doesn't make any difference to what is. What is just what is. Whether you live, if you come here and you live a trillion years and never know that it was and it is, it would make no difference. It would still be what it is. You see what I mean? So it's the same way with God. God has always been within man, just is. Whether man want to know it or not, all that is irrelevant. You see what I mean? So when I'm speaking, whether the humans understand it or not, all that is irrelevant, because I'm not selling the word of God. No one pay me to speak. No one pay me to get passionate. You know what I mean? So I'm not looking any reward from the words that I speak then. I looking any to say, oh, it please these people or it don't please these people. I don't care, because I know that it is, and it is the truth. You see what I mean? And I'm a passionate man about the truth then, as it was. Someone say, oh, burn, blood, clot, fire. You see what I mean? Because I know for myself, like I say, more than a trillion, that no soul who ever come out a woman can contain my words. And no living man now can come in front of me and out-reason me when I'm reasoning either. None. Well, if none of the man could do it in the past, no matter how wise you says the man was, he couldn't out-reason a 9th grade general. Tell you that. Because we are over in the land of Is. Yeah, he might have been very wise in the mind. I'm not saying because men are wise. But even the wise man would have, because if the man was wise, he would have recognized, yes, yeah, man, It is, it just is. You can't just, we don't argue with men like that. It just is, Everything him say is. I just saw it go, you see me? There's no argument, so no man couldn't do it then, and there's no living man who can do it now. You could have been to Eton and Oxford and Cambridge and Yale, all of them in one. You could have served 90,000 master degrees and doctorate. You could have you could have been a mind psychologist in 9,000 years. You still wouldn't know what I know about the mind. And I don't study nothing. I don't study nothing, Everything is dead simple when it comes to understanding what is. It's only a matter of self-conduct. You understand? A sincerity of heart and mind and soul. I live it in that way. That is what educate and teach one wisdom and bring one beyond wisdom to ISness. You see what I mean? It's not a study. It's a livity. Don't forget, you won't be able to see my intention and desires. But the internal one see it all and know it all. And if one intention is not sincere, well, like I tell you, certain things you cannot learn them. It's just the law. You see what I mean? It's the law that governs things. Just like how there is no law governing knowledge, so that if you don't behave a certain way, you can't, if you was a liar, you couldn't learn knowledge then, or a thief, or a murderer, you see, or a racist. That can't stop you learning knowledge. But that will stop you learning wisdom though. You see the difference? Definitely. You can't learn no wisdom once you carry any of them other sentiments. You can carry them and learn knowledge, as much knowledge as you want. You could be, like I say, a genius in knowledge, while you carry those sentiments of greed and lust and hate and jealousy and racism and spite and so forth and so forth. But to ever enter wisdom, you have to cease from doing all them. You have to drop them, Not pretend either, seriously. Otherwise the door of wisdom never open. You could have knock until you're dead. A trillion lifetime. It's just the law. So the law implies that one can only know God then when one is sincere and honest. When one chooses. You see what I mean? To live an honest life. Then that one now reveal himself to you. Or enter you then, because now you have cleaned up your act as it was then, if you know what I mean. The negative behavior that we behaved before, say like in my case, the gambling and the drinking and womanizing, telling lies, that represent dirty behavior then. And when I clean that up, when I was doing that, like I said, the light of God would not enter. But once I clean that out now and stop doing those things, then God was able to enter then. You see what I mean? And once God enter now, it's like lighting a fire. Whoops! The fire get lit and then I am blazing fire now. But what I'm saying, that process can happen to any souls. If they should ever make a choice then to make correction to the wrongs that they are doing. You see what I mean? But unless you make these corrections, you cannot understand life. You see what I mean? Because life, like I say, is reflecting a positive and a negative, a light and a dark as it was. You see what I mean? And you will we're automatically put in the dark then. Mental darkness. Not physical, mental. Now, only honesty can get you out of that mental darkness so that you can see the light yourself. You know what I mean? If you cannot see the light yourself, from within the dark, you are going to be a believer. Believe in what your religion tell you, or what they say. But nothing that they are telling you in the dark is correct. What they are telling you in the dark is what is keeping you still in the dark. You know? Like thing like they say, like crabs in a barrel. No believer will let other believers out. So they reinforce, they keep one another in darkness there. You see what I mean? You can only free yourself, not with the masses then. You have to be individual, break away. But you know how people are cowards, they are afraid to be on their own, you know. So say, oh, they're going to lose friends and, you know, this won't be the friend. And so they just go along with the crowd. And like me, like I'm saying, like to reach ISness, there's no one that I could walk with or keep personal friends, you know what I mean? That's why I'm a man on my own then, if you know what I mean. Because no woman is going to walk with you those, you know, or stay to that intensity with you on this journey then, or no man, you know what I mean? So it's best you and your rod just walk along then. You see what I mean? Because nobody can... I say, well, I'm not saying every woman is like that, you know, but if you're negative, then you will tend to believe, like my last partner in a way, that, oh, you love God more than me. So they will never be able to understand that it's true loving God that you know how to love human beings and love and learn how, understand how to treat a woman, how a woman should be treated, or to treat other human beings how they should be treated. You see what I mean? With love and equality and justice and all those things. This is what the love of God teaches. Teach you to love human beings the right and correct way. Because in there we have in that we have life that they are living. They don't even know themselves. You know? They are just looking at themselves as physical flesh, you know. So a man see a woman, him just see a body and think, oh yeah, she look fit, got a body, and she think, yeah. But beyond that, they don't see nothing beyond that. So they haven't got nothing to teach each other. They not develop and grow each other, you know what I mean? And if you try and grow them, they cannot see this anyway. That's why it's best, like I said, to cross the minefield. You have to. It's a lonesome journey that you have to do on your own. So if you're afraid of loneliness, then you cannot cross, can you? You see what I mean? That's why you have to have disciples, like I say, like fearless and those men and serious. You know, them man are not. Loneliness, the man don't care about no loneliness, you know. You cannot be lonely when you're walking with God anyway. You're not on your own, you know. You're walking, you know. Like I spend a lot of time talking to people. But I would say 60% of the time I'm talking to myself. If not 75, you know. A lot of the time is 95% of the time. It's me and myself in conversation, and I love that, to see what I mean. Because like I'm telling you, it is a travel. This is, you know, traveling. This is things like I say, remember I meet Mrs. Paradox. When life is paradoxical, as gone to Mrs. Paradox then. Because Mrs. Paradox say, listen, you see that universe that you are seeing out there, that, you know, where you can live in. Well, that universe is within. So, although man can get aeroplane and rocket and fly to the moon and fly off traveling, you can actually travel within. You see what I mean? So there is ways of traveling within. So I'm an inward traveler. You know what I mean? While some people fly around the world and say they've been to this place and that place, I can stay right here and, you know, and go deeper. Or sometimes I look at it this way then. Because I'm a Pisces and I say, well, I'm a fish and the mind is an ocean. So, in the ocean now you have many different fish swimming to many different levels. But I am not one of them fish. I am a fish that swims, come from the depths. You know, from deeper ocean, you know, because we don't have no fear of swimming. So I swim the depths of the mind and swim out of the mind. You see what I mean? And over into the land of ISness to see where light come from to enter the mind then, if you know what I mean. See where wisdom come from then. You know? Because wisdom come from over here. Everything have its roots, if you know what I mean. So the roots of all things lie in ISness. What is? And what is now is the higher intelligence, I could say the source then. We don't have to question anything because it just is. You know? I don't have to believe that what you call God is in man. Because I know it, you know. It's not a matter of belief. The people, I'm not saying the majority know this, but I know it. I am not saying that every man who lived before know it, you know, or that the majority of men who lived before know it. But I personally, as a fire, don't give a fuck if no one who lived before know it. But it is a fact that I know it. You know what I mean? So, me know, I don't care. I just know what is. And it is a fact that the one not only now but before is and was dwelling within all. And it is a fact that if any soul who take on flesh ever speak out of their mouth what was right and correct and truthful and honest, they could have only done so because this one that we call conscience teach it to them. And this one that they call conscience could have only teach it to them because one day in their life they decide to stop doing what was wrong. Because unless a soul decide this, the soul can't learn. Even if the soul come here 1 trillion times. Like the Buddhist habit, come on a wheel, you know, you have to keep coming till you learn. Well, even if a soul was coming here 1 trillion times, huh? Billion. If one of the time they never learned to stop doing what was wrong, they could never have learned what was right, you know. Maybe you want to read some truth that men write. No one read right in a book, but they themselves never learn and couldn't have learned any truth themselves. No soul can learn any truth themselves personally until they themselves make correction to the wrongs that they are doing. You understand? And it is these very beings who don't make correction to the wrongs that they themselves are doing, who harp on about prophets and angel and God sent, because they are the one now who end up as believers. Is it? Instead of making correction to their wrongdoing so they can know for themselves. You see what I mean? They don't make correction, so they end up as believers. But like I tell you, believers cannot know. So a man who is in the church or in synagogue or his mass, praying and talking about the prophets and saints or that, is a lost soul. It would only be a lost soul who would, a priest or imam or rabbi and them is a job. Somebody pay them to do the job. I don't care who. But you know one thing, it's not God, it's some other man. So they are doing a job. They are not speaking truth from the heart because they don't know no truth to speak. They work for an institution. And an institution already give them a thing. Train them up. And say, alright, you know, this is our thing. See? Go and preach that. No institution could say train a 9th grade fire. You know? The only institution that trained me is the institution of conscience. You see? And conscience never call me and say, oh, come here, I want to teach you, and then go and tell people. I made a choice, which every man can make a choice, you know, and stop and cut out certain wrongdoings. And through doing that now, I started to learn the opposite of what was wrong then, you know. And then eventually, like I said, the one himself revealed himself to me personally, so that I could be 1,000,000,000,000% certain of what I'm talking about, you know what I mean? And know for sure that not even an archangel can contend my words. Not even if you were sitting on the right hand side of God. If you were sitting, if God was real, yeah? When I say if God was real in the way that religious man say, like he was up in heaven, and as an example, and Jesus, his son, was sitting on the right hand, or the blood clot left hand, I don't care, one of the hand them. If he was sitting there, and when I speak the word, yeah, even his son keep fucking quiet, because I'm not speaking to his son. I speak because I wouldn't have learned anything from God's son. I learned from God himself directly. So when I'm speaking God's word, his son can't say nothing. Just keep quiet and listen to the word of the Father. You see what I mean? Because like I say, I'm not dealing with any second in command. I am not approaching God through any of his prophets, through any of his angels or those things. I disregard them. They're not necessarily in me, you know. I can talk to God myself. I'm a creative energy just like any other creative energy, you know. I am not a dumb wit, as it say, you know. I do have a mind, you know. I am capable of operating my own common sense, as it was, you know. So I am quite capable of approaching God myself, as it was. I don't need someone to do it for me, for any soul to hold my hand and lead me, you know what I mean? I am not a sheep then, as it was. I'm a human being, you know. Sheep can be led by shepherds. Yeah. And when you think about it, not even sheep need to be led by shepherd either. Let the sheep let them do their own thing, you know what I mean? They're not people, they are sheeps. But this is what hinders understanding then. Most people get trapped in the first field of life, which is knowledge. And where spirituality is concerned now, the knowledge that is gathered by religious men, that they use that knowledge to keep people's mind in ignorance. You see, because knowledge is not wisdom, and it can be gathered, like I say, without any morality. And those knowledge that religious men are talking about was gathered without any morality. There's nothing wise in it. You know, the people who are in religion must believe. If you change your ways, you leave from believing to knowing. Where you don't have to believe in God, you know that God, like say me, you know. Believers always, they feel more happy when they have to deal with what they might think is called an atheist then. Because the atheists, they are the one who believe in God, and the atheists don't believe that God exists. You see what I mean? So they are more comfortable saying, oh yes, there is a God answer. But I am not an atheist, and I am not a believer. I am a knower. You see what I mean? Fall between the two of them. Because belief is ignorance. Whether you believe in that there is a God or you believe in that there is no God, it's still belief. Belief implies that you do not know. So the believer who believes in God don't know God. They just believe that God exists, but they don't know God. The atheists don't believe in God. So they can't know anything either. Because, believe. Believe is ignorance. They just believe from two different spectrum of belief. One is on that side and one, but still in the field of belief. Ignorance. You can't hold the believer's position and know God. Neither can you hold the atheists and know whether God exists or not either. You have to leave both those positions, like I say. And and to leave the position, you have to examine your own conduct. So that literally implies, in a way, still, that the reason why people are believers and atheists is because of self-conduct. Both of them are doing things that are not right and correct. I know they would not admit this, but both of you, believers and atheists, are human beings who are not living honestly and truthfully and sincerely within your own being. You've got some negativity about you that you are not addressing, and this is what keep your mind in darkness. You see what I mean? Until you address these problems, you will remain believers or atheists, but you can never know. You can never see what is, if you know what I mean. You one have to get, like I say, serious, and take action that is going to allow you to leave from knowledge to enter wisdom, and then from beyond wisdom now you can, like I say, journey to the land where you can see how things is. Now when you are seeing how things is, like I say, there's no argument about it. There's no argument in my mind. There's argument in the people who don't know. But when they do know, the argument will be over in themselves. You see? But they can never know until they make correction to their own negative ways. You see what I mean? And like I say, no one can make the correction but you yourself. Now, hear what? I have said enough on this about the land of ISness then. I try and paint a picture to show you how the mind arrive at ISness. And I hope that in this reason then you see a bit more. I see the pitfalls that is contained in religious dogmas. Or when we fail to use our own common sense and think for ourselves. Like I say, when we follow the crowd, because we are afraid to walk on our own, and to think for ourselves, But unless you can develop this ability where you have trust in your own ability to understand, well, you'll always be a slave to the system of belief and superstition and all those kind of things. But you will never know the truth. You see what I mean? To know the truth, you have to take action of correcting your own negative ways. Anyway, I is going to reel out, fade out, and fire out from firehouse. See you on another reel where I will be burning some more internal fire. Rastafari, live it and reign it in the heart of all human beings who has ever arrived out of the womb of woman. Like say that one day,